Hi, my name is Eric Hill with Autumn Hill Nursery and Landscaping. Today I want to walk you through the steps of a typical landscape project that a homeowner might undertake. The landscape project we are about to explore is the home of Carolyn and John Gill of Canton. Like any project, there must be a reason for taking it on, as well as goals to accomplish, and this is where we'll start today. The Gills were not satisfied with the look of the front of their yard. To them, it's plain looking and not very colorful. Meeting with Carolyn, this is what she wanted to accomplish. Open up the view from the front porch as they do sit there. Make the landscape more interesting and colorful. She wanted to be sure to add a rock wall or two. She loves annuals, wanted to have a place for annuals. We also talked about removing a large oak tree out front, as it is way too large of a tree for this small of a yard. In addition, the crepe myrtle on the left side of the driveway is too close to the drive, making it difficult to open a door. As you can see looking at the photos, the landscape is fairly boring and not doing anything to complement the house. The narrow strip of grass between the bed and the oak tree makes no sense, and the bed itself is pretty narrow, parallel to the house, giving it no depth. In addition, the ornamental grasses around the cable boxes are dominating this small front yard. In a larger setting they might be fine, but here they really should go. For any project to be successful in accomplishing your goals, you should have a plan. After meeting with the Gills and gathering information from them, we create a plan. Here are the goals with the new landscape design. Incorporate several rock walls, including one on the opposite side of the driveway to help tie the yard together. Open up the front of the porch by removing the railings and the weeping cherry tree. Add as much depth as possible to the bed, so we were going to bring the bed all the way down to the sidewalk. Make the front of the house interesting without being busy, and also want to make sure it doesn't look like the neighbors. Yes, you really should look around and make sure you're not doing the same things that the Jones did across the road. We want to create a nice mix of textures and colors in a limited space. Of course, we want to complement the house. We want to create a landscape that can grow into its own and not become an overgrown mess in just a few short years. Most importantly, we want to create a design that the Gills will enjoy and be proud to pull up to every day. So with this in mind, here's the plan we created. It incorporates 3 stacked stone walls, each complemented with a bed of seasonal color. We will keep everything low in front of the porch using low growing soft touch hollies, and to help create some continuity, soft touch hollies will be duplicated on the other side of the short stone path that leads to a small bench. Since the knockout roses can grow about 5 feet tall, we'll shift them to the right of the house so they're not covering up the lower windows. The waterfall Japanese maple provide interest year-round with unique lime green foliage, spring through fall, and once the leaves drop for winter, the cascading branches will be visually striking. In addition to the seasonal color beds, we wanted to add a large piece of pottery and a few one-man boulders. The Madison jasmine vine will add interest to a blank wall without being overpowering, and the Gills will enjoy its sweet fragrance each summer. The stacked stone wall on the left side of the driveway will be about 3.5 feet away from the driveway, so a car door can be opened without hitting it. Now that we have a plan and the Gills are excited to implement it, it's time for us to get started. First on the list of any landscape project is call Utilities Protection Service at 811 to get all the utilities marked. This is easy, it's free to do, and it can save you a lot of headaches down the road. You need to allow UPS 3 days for all the lines to be marked. We began the project by removing all the shrubs, taking care to dig large root balls for the Carissa hollies that we will be reusing. These were healed in temporarily so we could keep moisture on them until it's time to plant them in their permanent home. Next, we marked out all the new bed lines with white paint and tilled out the sod. Rather than digging individual holes for each plant, we want to till and amend the entire bed. We'll do this for a couple of reasons. A looser soil allows the roots of the plants to grow faster and deeper, which means the homeowner gets an established look quicker, and the plant can hold its own when the weather turns unfavorable, like it often does with our hot, dry summers. Also, when it rains or when the homeowner runs the irrigation system, the water can soak deeper into the soil, which means the beds won't dry out near as fast. Finally, the reason we want to amend this bed with a good organic soil mix is to create a healthy, sustainable soil that will support earthworms and microorganisms. Their presence will go a long way in replenishing nutrients in the soil that the plants need to thrive year after year. Once everything was removed and the sod was dug out, we began to prepare the bed. First we tilled through it as deep as we could. Next we brought in about 3 cubic yards of our organic soil mix and spread it throughout the bed. After tilling in the organic soil, we raked the bed smooth. Now we are ready to construct our walls. Again, we used white paint to lay out smooth, symmetrical curves that complement the lines of the bed. Once we were satisfied with the shape of each wall, it was time to start building them. We are using crab orchard stone with flat surface and very uniform thickness. Since these walls will be relatively short, the tallest just being 20 inches tall and not holding much back, we don't need to have a huge base or drains behind them. We will use Type S cement as the base and between the layers of rock to hold the stones in place. Since this video is more of an overview of the project, we won't go into a lot of detail building stack walls here. Once the walls were completed and backfilled, we were ready to proceed with the planting. Since all 3 walls will have annual beds above them, we will add extra nutrients to these areas. The mixtures of hen manure and Mr. Natural Complete Landscape Mix will be added to the raised beds, improving the drainage and provide additional nutrients for the annuals. Now we're ready to start laying out our plants, our pathway, and our bench. We started by the house and moved forward to see how things look. When placing the plants, we want to allow room for them to grow, so things might look a little sparse at first. We want to take care that we are spacing the plants equal distance from one another and the rows of the plants are parallel to each other, so we create a pleasing alternating pattern between the rows. Once we have the plants set out and the pathway and the bench marked with paint, we want to stand back and look at things from different angles. We want to make sure the design makes sense. We want to make sure we're leaving ample room between the plants so they can grow and they're not crowding each other out. Satisfied with our layout, we can begin planting. When planting container grown plants, we want to carefully turn the plant upside down and gently shake the plant out of the pot. Once the root ball is separated from the container, we want to start from the bottom and carefully loosen exposed roots from the soil. This will help prevent the roots from growing in circles. When planting, you want the top of the root ball to be flush with the soil or slightly above it. Take care to make sure that the fullest side of the plant is facing the direction to be viewed from. As you plant, stand back and make sure you are keeping the proper spacing. While you are planting, tamp the soil firmly around each plant to help remove any air pockets and reduce the amount of settling of the soil. To create a well-defined grass line, we dug about a 3-inch deep trench along the bed line. The outside of the trench goes straight down while the backside slopes in at an angle. This creates a crisp edge for the grass, and the sloped backside of the trench helps keep our straw tucked in. We added depth to the bed, created continuity with interest with the walls and seasonal colored beds. The porches open up, and the path and the bench add a nice touch. The knockout roses will bloom spring, summer, and fall, and jasmine and asters will bloom throughout the summer. And of course the Japanese maple adds a different texture. As the distilleums grow, they will block the cable boxes without overpowering the front yard as the miscanthus grasses did. The gills love the new look, and we appreciate you taking time to watch this. We hope you find it useful and keep us in mind as we are always here to help.